Today we talk about, for our today's topic, we will look into the Article 38, the inspection time and place. Sorry, only time. Time and place. Time, place, let's say. Okay, the buyer has the duty to inspect the goods. But where to perform this inspection? And by whom? Of course, by himself. Okay, so we may look into firstly to the article 38. Okay, here. Okay, Article 38, it was divided into 3 paragraphs. The paragraph 1, normally the first paragraph explains the principles, the general principle. The general principle is the buyer must examine. Look, it's used the word must. It's not may, it's must. Must means it's a duty. It's obligation. The buyer's obligation and the duty is to examine the goods or cause them to be examined. That means it was examined by third party. That third party is authorized by the buyer. And then within a short period as is practical in the circumstance. So, when the goods is available to the buyer, then the buyer has to examine the goods to determine whether it is conform or not conform. Okay, within a short period of time, and as practicable as in the circumstances. So it means it could be a very, very short period of time for the buyer to inspect. And how short? It depends on the circumstance. It depends on the nature of that goods. If it is a perishable goods, something like fish, like meat, it could, shortened maybe in 3 days or 4 days. But if it is preservable and long sustainable goods, such as computers, it may prolonged to 1 month. That is possible. And the second paragraph and the third paragraph involve 2 different situations. The first situation is, if the transaction involves carriage. The third paragraph involves redispatch, during the transit. Okay, look into the subparagraph, the paragraph 1. If the contract involves carriage of the goods, which could be very often today. Okay, the place of examination, the place of inspection may be deferred until after the goods have arrived here, destination. Okay, destination. So if the carriage, the course of the carriage has a destination. That destination is where the buyer perform the examination. Okay, so it depends on the transaction. Where it involves a carriage, maybe the shipment is from Shanghai, maybe to Hamburg. So the buyer has to examine the goods at the port of Hamburg, maybe. If it concerns a more long carriage, like after Hamburg, it needs some railroad transportation from Hamburg to the Munich. Okay, then after the goods arrived with the railroad, then examined at the Munich. Okay, if the goods are redirected in transit or redispatched by the buyer without reasonable opportunity for examination by him. Okay, here we have two words. Redirected in transit. Yeah, here is the first one. Then redispatched by the buyer. It's different situation. Redirected in transit means when the ship, the carriage, the carrier of the goods, during the shipment, he received an order from the buyer. Originally your destination is Hamburg, but before you arrive at Hamburg, I just ask the carrier redirected to another place. For example, Amsterdam. So the goods will be examined at new destination, Amsterdam. Okay, here redispatched means the goods already under the buyer's control. Maybe the buyer has a warehouse, a rented warehouse at Hamburg. But after the goods arrived in Hamburg, the buyer doesn't examine it because the buyer is in Munich. And he asks the warehouse a new order. That order is to transit the goods in that warehouse to another place in the warehouse in Amsterdam. So it's called redispatched. The buyer already received that goods but cannot inspect the goods. So after the goods redispatched to another destination, then buyer will inspect at new destination. Okay, so that determines where to inspect the goods. I draw these ideas into this mind map. Okay, firstly, it's about the Article 38 inspection time, and it's determined when and where the buyer inspects the goods, and it's concerned with the place of inspection and the notice period after inspection. It doesn't clearly regulate here, but we have to know when you inspect, after inspection, you have two options. The first option, everything goes well. So I will do nothing. I just proceed. The second situation, I found some unconforming. I found something not conforming. I found some defective. So I just notify the seller within a due time. So it's also concerned with the notice period after inspection. So the first paragraph have the last sentence with here, within as short a period as is practicable in the circumstance. It means you have to inspect quickly and notify the other party quickly. Okay, then look into the general principle. It defines when the seller delivers goods as the place of performance and according to Article 31. And also the second paragraph involves the situation, the circumstance of carriage. Firstly, the inspection deferred. When this inspection deferred, if the transaction involves the carriage, so the inspection was deferred after the goods arrive at the destination. And it's not applicable if the buyer already inspect at the place of origin. Here, please note, if the buyer already inspect the goods at the place of origin, remember the Incoterm EXW. If the buyer just exempt in accordance with the Incoterm EXW, it means already at the authorized person of the buyer itself just inspect that goods just in the place of seller's place. Then Article 38 of subparagraph 2 is not applicable. Then look into the other side, the third paragraph, in case of redirection or redispatch during the transit. Yeah, inspection will also deferred until the goods have arrived at the new destination. Okay, so the buyer shall be, the goods shall be at disposal of the buyers. Then the buyer can inspect. If the buyer fails to do so, the buyers lose remedy in case of not conforming. Yeah. So firstly, fails to conduct inspection. So you didn't inspect anything. You just check it. Then your right is just lost. And then you just made the inspection, but you discover something wrong. But you fail to notice within a reasonable time. Also, you lose your remedy. Okay, the remedy means, firstly, you can ask deduction or repair. Or in case of fundamental breach, you can ask for the contract shall be void and return the money you paid. Okay, so that is a really important concern with your remedy, concern with your right, the buyer's right. It's a right of buyer and it's also a duty of buyer. So the place shall be very important.